Welcome everyone to another episode of Triforce Heroes, the #1 tier list show on YouTube. I'm Gooey here with my pals Nico and Corey.
Hello.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Doing pretty good.
Cool. I'm feeling like I want to collect some things. I couldn't think of what to say.
Wow.
We're talking
Creative.
about Zelda.
Let's collect ourselves and we'll do some ranking.
Oh, there
Wow.
you go.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, we're talking Zelda collectibles today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing it by game because we started to think about what are the collectibles, and some games just had so many. Some games were like, is this a collectible or is it
Yeah.
not? And so we just kind of decided, let's go by game and we can work it out on the spot if something's a collectible or what we like or dislike, like we always do. But, let us know if you think we missed something, but hopefully we didn't.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, all that stuff. Let us know in the comments.
Let us know.
Are you ready to go? Any other caveats?
No. I'm ready to collect.
I'm
Let's
ready
dive
to
right in.
totem.
Totem time? 3, 2, 1, totem time! Oh!
Totem.
Oh, you've gotten really good, Nico, at the transition.
Whoa.
It's
You're
hard.
So good at it.
It's hard because I have to click it and totem at the same time.
And you have to hold us up. That's a lot of weight, you know?
Yeah. Jeez Louise.
Okay. So we rarely do this, but I think for the very first pick, I think we should talk about The Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
It's kind of just like, we don't have to go chronologically, but I want to kind of start about the first game and talk about laying the groundworks of
that's
collectibles.
smart. Yeah.
Because the game has, the first collectible, or like the iconic collectible in Zelda that pretty much all the games have, is heart containers in this game, but heart pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has a lot of other cool stuff. I mean, even some of the main items are optional, so I don't know, I don't know if you can really consider that a collectible, but it just has this feeling. It's for me, it's great. I love the feeling of like, you can buy a piece of meat and it's like, is this something you don't know until you know that this isn't a collectible, or this isn't a random item. It's, you need it to get through this dungeon or this area. There's the upgrades like to the sword and stuff like that. So I mean, it has a lot of the DNA here, for all the Zelda games, I think, and finding all the secret spots, is fun and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually really like this. This is one of my favorites, but I don't know, like, what you guys think.
I don't know. Because I have to see, as the series goes on, it's like they add on more and more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, for its time, I think the heart containers were awesome. And I kind of don't know where on the tier list I want to put the original. Because on one hand, I'm like, awesome for its time. And I really like it in concept and the places that you find it. Like, I like just going, I like that there's one, you need the step ladder, and there's one kind of just like sitting in the ocean. There's a couple in like some hidden caves and stuff. That's like really fun. But then on the other hand, I'm like, well, that's it for the whole game. And there's only, what, like 8 or something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, the only, I mean, and you say that, but I also do think, some of those are like pretty obscure to find.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I kind of like that.
That kind of makes it feel even more rewarding.
Yeah, that's true. And I've loved the element of, Nico, you and I have talked about this, of like playing Elden Ring, of just like hearing about this from someone else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm loving like having that sort of experience. And that's kind of how it was the first time we played Zelda, was like, you get these tidbits and stuff like that, or you go check a walkthrough, I guess, is another route. But I'm with you, Corey, where it's like it's not as involved, but I think we'll see this with other games. Like, I think within the scale of the game, it fits really well. I don't know how much more it needs. I think it has the appropriate amount of side content for the size of the game.
I think it laid a perfect groundwork for what collectibles can be in the Zelda series, honestly. Like what you're saying, how they're, I mean, we got heart containers, which is, that's Zelda, like it always has been, always will be. And like you also said, it gives us the finding secrets and the optional collectibles, which I mean, most of these games, the collectibles are optional. Um,
Mhm.
I think so. I think it did a great job. I wouldn't say it's S tier because it's not like the most exciting collectibles or like super rewarding, but it is fun and cool. I would personally give it an A tier for
That's what I was
collectibles.
thinking, but I know that I thought that would get a lot more pushback, but I think it's like great with some flaws, but
Yeah.
appropriate for its time. And if we want to move it around, we can too.
I probably would have naturally put it lower, but if you guys, I'm not really, that doesn't really bother me putting it in A tier. Though I do kind of, this might be another one where it's like, once we see the ones that land around it, I might be like, all right, maybe not. But I'm
Okay.
okay with A tier for
We
now.
can keep our eye on it. Let's toss
Keep
that
our
baby.
eye on that one.
There we go.
That one up there.
That one right
Cool.
there.
Well, what's one you would rather? What do you want to talk about? Doesn't have to be better.
Hmm. That's a good question. Let's do, because it ends up, we kind of end up saving it for last a lot, and I want to switch it up a little bit. Let's do Breath of the Wild. Let's go the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Okay.
Okay.
This has some
Breath of the
notorious
Wild,
collectibles.
yeah. The big one is the Korok seeds.
hmm
And I think the big thing about that is that there's 900, which is, I think, is a
Hmm.
little questionable. That I'm going to go on record and say 900 is too many. I
Wow.
know
Yeah.
that's a big,
Hot
it's a big
take.
take. I
Hot
know.
take, man.
But
I was thinking about, so that's the thing that's gonna be a theme for me with collectibles like that, like the ones that's like the get 'em all type ones, where my personal play style for ones like that, I, I'm just like I get them if I come across them. I'll never 100% this game, and that's true of a lot of games with more reasonable amount. But
hmm
for me, it does hit a point where it like no amount more of ridiculous collectible is gonna be seem like whether it had 200 or 900, it's like okay, whatever, I'll
Yeah.
find some along the way.
I think it's even Korok seeds are in a peculiar position, even compared to some of the other ones like that, because it's such a weird balance the whole way through. Because initially, it's like you're doing it to increase your inventory slots, right?
hmm
Hmm.
Or your armor
Yeah.
or weapon or whatever, your
Yeah.
inventory slots, and like when you're doing that, it's super useful. And also the method of actually getting them, that they're just little individual puzzles spread throughout the world, is like amazing. That's
Yeah.
like top tier way for me to get a collectible. But then the thing is, after you've gotten about like 100, you start to recognize the patterns of like, okay, do this puzzle again, this puzzle again, this puzzle again, this puzzle again. And I think when I first played Breath of the Wild, I did go out of my way a little bit to hunt some Korok seeds, and I didn't look at a guide or anything. I think I got like a little bit less than half on my own, and then I was like, this is way more than I ever need to get. So I
hmm
don't need to touch the rest of them.
And you don't even need to collect all of them in order to get all of the inventory slots. You have to collect like a
Mhm.
little over half, I think, to get all of
I
them.
think I got all the slots, and I'm pretty sure I
Okay.
didn't get more than half.
So yeah, you don't have to get even half, I guess. And then the reward for actually collecting all 900 is, well, it's kind of crappy.
That's
I
kind of
don't know.
great, actually. I do
That
like
yeah, that's the funny thing too, is that like that I feel like that's a great reward for
It
completionists,
is,
because it's like you spend so much time
it's
going out of your
classic
way to get all of
Zelda.
these.
It's classic
It's a
Zelda to work
perfect
so hard to get a collectible, and in the end all you get is a piece of poop.
yeah,
it is
that's
too,
fun.
like I think a lot of games like where you have that one big collectathon like that, like by the time you have gotten them all, like it's hard, I think, to give you an item that is meaningful at that point.
Yeah.
After like you're
Yeah.
always like a tank by the end of the Zelda games. And I think Breath of the Wild, a lot of other things in the game are collectibles, but they're built, it's a thing I like, they're built into the game.
Mhm.
You know, you can cook a bunch of recipes, or you can obviously getting the spirit orbs and stuff. But
Yeah, that was the other big one for me.
I think a lot of these are pretty cool. Just they're cool enough, and it's like I love the concept more than most other Zelda games. But I think like I hope for the next one they kind of tweak how some of it works. You know, because I feel like just that many and like lack of diverse puzzles and like you know the rewards you're getting are kind of the same thing over and over. It feels a little less meaningful, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And also just
Sure,
the
yeah.
idea, even with you're expanding your like weapon slots, which seems useful because you have all these weapons and you're always having to drop some, but at the same time I'm
Mhm.
like these weapons don't like I'm like, oh, I have 3 royal claymores, 4 great flame blades, you
Yeah,
know, it's just like even
even
those
by the
like
time that you're getting towards having all of the slots, you're like, do I really need more? Like, I'm
Yeah.
probably okay.
but I love all the systems and how they interact and stuff. I just feel like they could
Yeah.
make it better. So it's still pretty good for me. Like, but
I think just because the methods that you get, spirit orbs and Korok seeds, just the way that they're implemented into the game, and the fact that at least in the beginning chunk, they're incredibly gratifying. I think I would
Mm-hmm.
probably want to put Breath of the Wild in A tier, somewhere
okay,
around there.
I
that sounds
think
good to me.
this game had the potential of having S tier collectibles.
Yeah.
But it kind of shot itself in the foot with having 900 Korok seeds. Um, which is still like unfathomable.
That's
That
like absurdly too many though. That's what I
like
mean is that like
Mhm.
it passed it's that thing where something's funny and then it goes
yeah,
on so long that it's not funny and then it goes on so long that it's funny again. That's
yeah,
Korok seeds
exactly.
for me.
Well, like what's the most amount of collectibles in a game before Korok seeds? It's not even half of what Korok seeds are. It's not even a quarter,
Right.
probably.
No.
So it's like, I mean, obviously the point of the Korok seeds is to encourage you to explore.
Hmm.
But 900, like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could
I
find a
don't
way
know.
to mix it up and give you other things that you might want to collect. You know, so it feels a bit more
I
unique.
definitely
You know.
agree.
Yeah, I think A is great for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I still think it works really well.
Mhm. Let's
Hey,
let's throw it up there. Bam.
cool.
Well, mm, I'm
That's you,
gonna
my friend.
I'm gonna pick a game I've been playing recently, which is Triforce Heroes.
Okay, right on.
our
Ooh.
our namesake. So the collectibles in Triforce Heroes are interesting because they are like you get them just for completing levels. So you'll
Hmm.
always get collectibles. You're getting
Yeah, so
like
you're not really collecting it.
yeah, they're
It's more
just
like
handed
givenables.
yeah, they're givenables because you're collecting them
Just
just
a
for
handout.
playing the game. They're like, thank you for actually getting through a whole level. Here's something for your time.
It's like it's the treasures, right?
Yeah, you get like the different things
Hmm.
to make new outfits. Um, but then you also get the key items with like the special clothing, like the
I
ladies'
guess you collect
clothes.
the outfits, which are
But yeah,
cool.
the only one I can really think of that counts as a collectible to me is the outfits.
So yeah,
But even then, it's like that's kind of it's a whole mechanic.
you have to
It's kind of the same.
get the items from completing levels to get the collectibles, which are the outfits.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
This is another one of those things. It's different where I'm thinking like Legend of Zelda like scaled appropriately
mhm.
or something, whereas like Breath of the Wild, you know, isn't. But this one, it's not even necessarily scaled, but I just feel like the um the implementation suits the type of game it is. You know, it's not.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't require the costumes and the way they're given. Like I don't think it needs to be more complicated than it is. I think it works perfectly.
And
I guess it's less.
I really do like the costumes because they're silly and they're fun and they have different abilities. So like that's cool. You could play the whole game without really using any of them. So
I guess the other pro I could think of it is you have to get them by playing the levels, but if you want to keep collecting stuff, you got to play more levels.
do the challenges.
And as we've
The
experienced,
challenges, yeah.
Yeah, they encourage you to go back
You
and
get those rare materials, right?
do the different modes. So for me, it's like B because it's like it works perfectly fine in the game it's in. It's not like it's fun. You know, it's hardly collecting, but it's fun.
I think the one thing that Triforce Heroes does best is making you want to play just to unlock those outfits because they're fun.
Yeah.
Like I want to play as Link in a dress. It's a good time.
Oh yeah.
I definitely remember coming back to the levels a fair amount just to get materials because I was like, I want this outfit. There's like there are some really cool outfits in that game, and it's a really interesting like dynamic because if the outfits are the collectibles, then it's like the collectible itself is the reward. So it's kind of like it feels a little weird to me, but at the same time, it's like if the collectible itself is the reward, it's got to be a great collectible, right? Because those outfits are really gratifying.
Yeah.
B's cool to me, definitely.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be more than it is.
Simple. Worked for the game.
All right, my go. Huh. I think it might be fun if I am just going chronologically. I don't know if I'll keep doing it, but I'll do Adventure of Link.
All right.
Which doesn't have too much, but it's another one where I think it serves the game well enough. Like you find the things that expand your bars, you know, and your magic and your health. And you know, you find there's some extra spells, I guess. That's not really collectible. That's just like extra content. But then there's also, I guess there's the Link dolls, which are fine, though. I mean, you lose them when you die.
Yeah,
it'd almost be better if it gave you an extra life. Like that'd be a better implementation. But for me, it's not like awful. Like I said, I think it's appropriate for the game it is. But I would put this one more down in like C. It's like fine, it's good, but it's not awful. Maybe even B. Like, but I'm guessing you guys probably wouldn't feel that strong about it.
I feel like I can't. This is one where it's like I kind of have to stretch my imagination to consider things collectibles because like experience point bags don't really count as collectibles to me because it's like little things you pick up. It's like getting coins in other games or something.
More
I wouldn't
ammo.
really consider that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the extra lives, that's I don't know. I feel like this game more so than most other Zelda games doesn't really have clear-cut collectibles, and for that reason I kind of want to put it low. I think like I would be okay with C, but also I kind of want to put something at the bottom, and I don't know what else I would put at the bottom. So I'm thinking C or D. I don't have super strong feelings about it though.
Yeah, I'm just like sitting here trying to consider like what would I actually consider a collectible in this game.
I think at least the expansions of your bars are, you know, there's not many of those, but you know, that's not more experience. That's like finding a heart container, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's a good point.
But like I said, I feel like it's appropriate for the game it's in, you know. But I guess if you're comparing it to others, maybe D. I don't feel like it's bad. Is all, you know.
I don't feel like it's bad either, but out of the things we have at our disposal, I think it might be the lowest tier.
I would agree
compared to the rest.
Yeah. Okay, I think let's see if we can think of something else that can go in D. I would like to bump it up, but if this has to hold up,
I'm totally
the bottom,
fine with that.
I think that's cool.
I like this.
We're just working towards that P-shaped tier list. So
yeah, that's
actually, you know what? Did we Do we have four swords on here? Like four swords by itself?
Y- you know what? I
Yes.
do. It's over here.
Okay.
Yeah. That doesn't
Because I
really
want to
have
bump
collectibles, right?
because I want to bump Zelda 2 up, let's put four swords in D. Because
Okay.
four swords, that's just like there's nothing. That's a multiplayer game and the whole thing is like you collect the force gems, right?
Yeah.
Or the rupees. Is it rupees in that game?
It's
Just to
Mhm.
compete and then like I don't think anything really is there stuff that carries over?
I don't think so. I don't remember. Like, and I played this for the definitive ranking. I don't really remember. I remember there was like extra content, like in the anniversary edition, they had extra
Yeah.
levels, but we're talking more about the collectibles.
well, see, I have this problem where I
I
didn't have
don't think there are.
friends to play games with, so this is like one of the games that I've played like the least amount, and I
Yeah.
can't think of any collectibles in it.
Yeah.
I want to say there are not any.
I think this is a good
Okay.
placement.
Could be wrong. I want to say there
This
are not any.
this is better. D is like no
Yeah.
collectibles.
Yeah,
D
D tier on a
literally nothing.
collectibles list. No collectibles has to be D.
That's fair. That's
Someone
fair.
leave a comment for what collectible we forgot.
To prove us wrong, we're always wrong.
That's fine with me, yeah.
Okay, I'll go, and I'm gonna go with the Oracle games.
Okay.
And I'm picking them mostly because I never fully understood the rings. Like I know
Yeah.
like I know that
Okay.
they're really useful if you understand them, but I guess I just never really put a lot of time and effort into understanding them. They're also not very just user friendly. They're just not. The rings are just not
You
user friendly.
can go watch our definitive rankings of the Oracle games and have Masi's he does this whole screed on how the ring RNG works, and I'm like, I don't get it. For me, the rings are a thing similar to how I mentioned with the seeds, where
Yeah.
like there's not a lot of collectibles where I'm like, this is bad. It's just ones where I'm like, oh hey, I found a ring, and it's bad because it
Yeah.
just didn't really engage me, but otherwise usually the game is fine,
I think the only time I like used a ring like because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use a ring, and because I thought about it was when I wanted to turn into an Octorok because I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's so cool though.
That's like it has really cool things, but like
I like
It has potential. Could be
it's so
cooler.
the rings
confusing.
themselves and what they do, like especially if you get a lot of them, I think are awesome. And in
Mhm.
terms of actually getting them, like if I ever opened up a chest and it was a ring, I was always just like, "Oh, cool, a ring. That's neat. Maybe I'll use that
Mhm.
later." But the whole ring system is so not intuitive. It's
No,
ridiculous.
it's not.
You get the box, you got to go pay to get it appraised. You got to
Uh-huh.
put it from the list into your box. Got to go into your inventory in the box and equip the ring. Like,
I think it took me
I
like
don't
20
know.
minutes just to equip the ring to become an Octorok, and I was like, that was fun, and then I turned the game off.
Even with like it's like they knew that like people aren't going to get this, so they have Vasu say, "Remember, rings do nothing unless worn. You have to equip them." And
It
then
does
people
have
are
heart
like,
pieces.
I don't know how."
You can collect heart pieces.
Yeah, heart pieces are good too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Is
think it's a
this
mixed bag.
It really
I
is.
I want to go I want to go like middle somewhere, B or
Mhm.
C maybe, because I think rings are really cool. But like,
I think C.
Here's the thing.
C,
Here's the thing. I want to fight for B because think of it in the realm of Triforce Heroes, because it's the same thing. The collectible is the reward, you know, and honestly, the rings are super cool, and they give you cool abilities or buffs or whatever, and that's a very cool like RPG type element to this game that's not in most Zelda games. It just really, really sucks that it's not intuitive and nobody fully understands it, except for Mossy's, apparently.
Well, he understands it and he hates it. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
but
No, that's fine.
okay, more thing I would say, because I really feel like C, because I feel like it's not just a letdown in the collection, how you collect it, but
Mhm.
like there will be a lot of them where it's like this turns you into something, which is cool. It's like this is like could be like Majora's Mask, but you
I
can't
wish
do
you could
anything
do
with it.
something.
You
Yeah,
can't
it's
even
such a
use your own
shame.
sword. So
Yeah.
like I
Can't even
like
interact
those.
with people.
So there's like conceptually that would be really cool though, but I think it falls apart there too. So I feel
Okay.
like conceptually it's like A or S tier, but it's implemented so poorly that I almost thought D earlier
Okay, you know what?
when you guys were talking it
I don't
down.
think it's that
That
bad,
makes
but
sense to
Yeah.
me. So I would agree with C tier.
all right, let's do C.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because if we're comparing like just the outfits from Triforce Heroes and the rings, like the outfits I think are better, but
They're more useful for sure.
Oracle of Ages and Seasons also have secrets and heart pieces.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know if we want to. That would be the only thing that might bump it into B for me. But
If you feel like
it's
that,
kind of hard. It's kind of hard considering the heart pieces because most games in the series have some form of heart pieces or heart containers that a lot of them kind of blend together, and I can't
Yeah.
really think of a lot of memorable heart pieces in these games.
I think
yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
fine
it's
here,
yeah,
honestly.
certain ones where it's like
Right.
solve this little overworld puzzle to get it. You know, it's fun, but
All right.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, okay. Wait, who's pick
It's
is it
you.
then? Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shoot.
Ah.
Let's do A Link to the Past. It hasn't hurt for me to do it this
Gosh,
way.
I just
So
love that cover art so much of A Link to
me
the
too.
Past.
Call me crazy.
S tier cover art.
It is S tier cover. Ocarina of Time, though.
That's why we got
Yeah,
this really good Ocarina of Time cover art here.
I think this game rocks at it too. It's another one where it took heart containers to the heart pieces, right? Um,
Yes.
and this was the first one where it's like,
No, Link's. Yeah. No, you're right.
yeah. So it's like,
They have
and
heart pieces? Yeah.
it did a little bit more clever stuff to find them. You know, that's where it introduces all these things we were just talking about with Ages and Seasons, where you know I especially love the light world, dark world, like sort of puzzles where you know you got to stand here and use the mirror and
Mhm.
then you know get to here, and then just in general, like, well, I guess all the medallions are useful or used. No, maybe one's not. But this is another game where it does a thing where it's like there's a ton of optional like items even, you know, and extra stuff like that, and it blurs the line sort of between what's like collectible and then what's not later on.
Mhm.
So I think it's pretty good.
It's also the first Zelda game with bottles.
Bottles, oh my gosh.
Bottles
One
is
of
a key addition.
one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Naturally when I would have thought of A Link to the Past, like I get positive vibes from it. I'm like, yeah, this has good collectibles, but then I think about it and I'm like, what really are the collectibles? And that's because it doesn't have like a Korok seed or a Skulltula, nothing like that is a counter up, but it has, like you were explaining, Goo, it has perfectly implemented heart pieces, and it
Yeah.
added so many additional items, which I think you could stretch and say those are collectibles in a way.
In a way.
And the
Not
bottles,
yeah. Yeah,
that's
and I feel like the heart pieces was the next like logical like step of like the evolution in a way. So I think like it's like okay, they kind of perfected that or like made it a little better. And then in the next game they're going to add in the seashells, you know what I mean? And like games are going to
Mhm.
start experimenting with that. And I just think like yeah, it kind of lacks that like you know one thing of like oh I got 13 of these now. I still think it's I don't know, pretty dang good. I would put it somewhere in the top 2 spots.
for solely for the sake of paving the way in that way, because in addition to the stuff you just said, like the way that they implement the heart pieces and that there are so many more of them than in previous games, it really makes you want to explore the world fully.
Mhm.
Like, and it's not just like in some future games, it's like you get to an extra chest in an extra room in a dungeon that isn't that far out of the way, and it's like, here's a heart piece, and it's like, okay, well, thanks,
And
but
it's
it's not
more
super, you know, rewarding. It doesn't feel
so
as rewarding as in this.
it's a little more intuitive too than
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda, where like you get teased by a chest and you can see it over here, but you're in
Yeah.
this cave, so you gotta, how do I get to that cave? You
Yeah.
know?
I think A Link to the Past
Because
does
of
a very
that,
good job of that.
I would propose S tier.
Yeah. I also, in terms of that scale again, it doesn't feel like it's missing anything.
I would
And
Yeah.
disagree. I would disagree. I think it's missing about another 850 heart pieces.
It's true.
yeah,
You really gotta
then
get to
we'd
that
be good.
900 level to be
Yeah,
considered.
I mean, let's be honest. They could have had 900 heart pieces, but they didn't. So this game sucks.
I have a minor spoiler, but we eventually get to a game with a similar world map that adds more stuff in, and that feels natural and good. But when I go back to play this game, I don't feel like, dang, there's empty space or anything.
That's a very good
I think
point.
Yeah,
they negotiated that well.
that's the other thing I almost forgot to say is that this probably more than any game in the series, I'd say this is probably in the top 3 for me of games that I just naturally 100%. That
That's fair.
rarely happens. If the collectibles are that good and that enticing that like I just get them naturally, and by the end I'm like, I've gotten everything.
I
And
can
it's
think of
always timed
2.
perfectly.
It lands perfect for me on the spectrum of from there's too many of these things and it's not that interesting, so I'm not going to collect them, and I don't understand how I collect these things, so I'm not going to bother. S tier.
And there's always like, I feel like the pacing of them is perfect too, because like there are some times where like you get everything and then you're like, okay, well now I just have the rest of the game to go, so I gotta do that.
Mm.
Or you finish the game and then it's like, I gotta sink in just as much time just to get the collectibles.
See, we're raving. This is the Link to the Past here. I like when we're all
I would
in
agree.
agreement about something's greatness.
I said it sucks. What are you talking about?
Oh, we almost got to
Boo.
pee.
All right,
All right,
Corey Richmond.
let's do let's do Phantom Hourglass.
All right. What are the collectibles in Phantom Hourglass?
There's a few
There's
things. There's quite a bit,
the
actually.
like courage gems, power gems, wisdom gems.
Oh yeah. Oh
Those
wait, those are
guys-
actually kind of cool.
Those are actual, but they're kind of forgettable to me. But like when I think about it, I'm like, oh, okay, well those are very functional and they
To
give
be
you pretty good
fair-
rewards, right? I don't think I ever got all of them,
To
but
be fair, I did literally forget about them.
yeah,
It's like, it is
They're
cool
kinda
because it's
forgettable.
like, they are, I didn't engage with them super hard, but it's like you get 10 of the red one and like you do more damage if you go to the shrine, and you can
Yeah.
activate it. So they're pretty neat. And
You
then
get
there's,
Bit of an
good rewards
RPG
for 'em.
element, which is cool.
yeah, you have like the ship parts, obviously. That's fun, kind of customizing the ship. It'd be
That's a
cool
good
if
point.
it did more. It doesn't do anything, but
They look really cool though.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it give you, if you have a set, doesn't it give you more hearts?
that
Oh,
true?
I think sets do.
It's
oh,
it's definitely that way
okay, but
in
it's
Spirit Tracks. I
but
don't know
it's
if it
not
is in
like
Phantom
this
Hourglass.
I think
one
you're
does
right.
this specific thing. It's not like,
No, yeah.
it could be a little more fun.
It's just an aesthetic thing that if you're rewarded if you get like a set. But the other thing though, that's really cool in concept. I think I've never done it, but from what I know, I'm pretty sure this is one where it's like incredibly tedious to get 100%, because like it's almost like impossible to get all of the ship pieces or something, because some of them you have to like trade using that weird like gift box trade
Right.
thing.
Oh
Yeah, you have to like the online or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's like, yeah, there hits a point where if you're gonna get like all the ship parts, it's like really obnoxious. Again,
Yeah.
probably explained on our Phantom Hourglass video. Yeah, it's another one of those things where I'm like, I'm not gonna collect those.
That's fair.
I think that kind of speaks to it, though. That I don't.
Uh,
This game has heart containers, right? Not pieces.
yeah,
Does it have heart pieces? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I need to play this game. It's been a while.
I think it
But
has been for all of us. Yeah.
but that the fact that this game has heart pieces and it has a functional collectible like the gems, and then it has the ship parts,
Mhm.
like that all sounds great on paper, but I don't think any of us feel very strongly about it. And for that
It
reason, I
was
feel like it's kind of middling.
yeah. It's not that long ago, really, that I played it, and it's just like I can just recall when like I get into those systems and I really have fun with it. And these I just really don't remember the
Mhm.
specifics. I remember going with the crane down and grabbing stuff, but I don't really remember what I was grabbing.
I want to say C.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
was thinking the same.
Cool.
All right, Phantom Hourglass.
Um.
That's
That was
Spirit
Spirit Tracks.
Oh, sorry. Where is? Oh, there it
You
is.
should
One's
remember
got
the
one's got
beautiful
trains,
box
one's got
art.
boats.
One's got 3 trains on it.
Oh, does it have 3
trains,
trains?
trains.
Yeah, I think that was in our box art video. We talked about
Yeah.
it. Maybe there's
I
only 2
think
trains.
it has 2 trains. But
That's
this one
too many trains.
only has 1 boat.
That'd be a good rapper name. 2 trains.
two trains.
2 trains. Okay, I'm gonna pick A Link Between Worlds because we just talked about A Link to the Past, and I think it makes sense to talk about A Link Between Worlds.
Dude, you picked my save the best for last idea one.
Uh,
S tier.
That's
I
too
think.
bad because
All the way up.
I'm putting it up top 2 for all the
Nico
reasons.
wanted to do it first.
For all the reasons. Well, I mean, you said spoiler and you mentioned the game, so I was like, let's just do it. Here's the thing.
It's holding off on talking about my mice.
No, that's what we're going to talk about right freaking now. See, A Link to the Past already had the perfect idea of how to do collectibles. And then A Link Between Worlds was like, let's make the same game, but we're going to add these adorable little babies that sing and squeak, and it's fun to turn them into their mother, and it's an all-around good time, and they upgrade your weapons, and I think it is the best collectible
Yeah.
in the series
Ever.
I think
It's
I
the
want to
best
say
one.
that
It's for sure the best
it
one,
encourages it's the same thing as Korok seeds. It encourages you to explore,
but better.
but better. There's not 900 of them, and you know what? I'm going to be okay with that. I think
There's an
overall,
appropriate amount.
yes. How many are there?
Yeah.
Are there 100?
100, exactly 100.
Clean.
It's the perfect amount.
Clean.
It like they're it's an appropriate amount where, and it does feel a little extra because it's like for a lot of them it's not really about solving any sort of puzzle. It's just maybe bonking a tree, right, or something. But that's it. So it has that, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it like the way you can keep track of it on the map is really useful.
Yes, that is a
helpful.
really nice.
Huge.
It's a really nice feature.
They're all pretty findable, which is what you would want for this sort of thing. And then yeah, you mentioned I like how you all your items get upgraded, and they're in really meaningful ways usually.
Yes.
Like they're so much
Yeah.
better. And then something I said, I think almost pretty much every Zelda game with a collectible like this, I was saying like by the time you get to it, like that last thing you get could never feel satisfying anyway, so why bother? But I actually think this game, it is satisfying
Huge.
because it gets you a pretty powerful move, but it's not one where you're still not like stomping around the game or everything. Like the game is pretty easy by the time you have to collect a lot of that stuff, but it doesn't feel like broken or anything. It's like scaled so well.
It's super useful. All of the items and that great spin attack that you get are all super useful, just fighting regular enemies, but also if you go up and do the treacherous tower, it's like that tower was built so that you could use these awesome rewards.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Something that like you guys touched on pretty much a lot of the awesome things about my and what make them perfect. I feel like they're just a mishmash of all of the awesome components of the best collectibles in the series. Like an element of finding them in the overworld. It's not too challenging, but it is almost like a mini tiny puzzle
Mhm.
because you get that little tiny beep, beep, beep. You get a little audible clue, and then you know, oh, there's one around me. I got to do some exploring, and you might have to pick up a rock, or there might be one on top of a roof, and you're like, how'd you get up there, silly guy? How do I get up there?
Down from there. What are you doing?
And as you get them, because you can turn them into Mother Mai basically at any time, I feel like these are the perfectly paced collectible because you get a reward every 10 and it goes that way, and every reward is great, so it doesn't feel like you bring in 10, you get a good reward, then you bring in another 10 and you don't get as good of a reward. You get another upgraded item, which is going to be fantastic.
Yup.
And it because it's that gradual 10 10 10 10 10 big reward at the end, it's like there is never a point where you don't want to get Mai and you don't want to turn Mai in. And because there's 100 and they're just the right amount of challenging where it's not, you're not like walking across one in the middle of the road, but also they're not crazy cryptic, you can naturally find them. It's another one where it's perfectly paced that just if you're naturally going for them, you're going to have a solid chunk towards the time that you get to the end, and you might just end up getting 100 right around the time that you finish the game.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's
And
really
they're
not
always
that
going to
hard to
lead
find them
you.
all.
Yeah.
If they're encouraging you to explore, they're also going to work hand in hand with the heart pieces, which have fun. Now they have you implement the gameplay mechanic like how you had the light world, dark world thing. Now you have that with a little bit of extra with the wall merging. And yeah, I think it does all that stuff really well.
Yeah, and it can't.
Yes.
I think it can't be understated too. What you said, Goo, about the way that you can track them on the maps, because that's something that we're probably going to touch on when it comes to another collectible that drives me nuts. You can perfectly tell if you've searched an area enough for Mai because you can look on the map and it'll be like, this area you got 2 left, this area you got 0 left, and it's like perfect. I don't need to waste my time just searching every nook and cranny in this area to see if there are Mai left. I know generally where I need to search.
I would agree. I think it's a
That's
perfect collectible.
perfectly intuitive.
Yeah. Good job.
All right.
People sleep on this game, and I
Yes.
don't know why. It's a wonderful game.
It's my number 3.
It's a darn good game.
All right. Shall I pick?
Yes.
Then? All right. Let's do the pair of Link's Awakenings.
Oh yeah, we can do
Let's
them
talk
together.
about them.
Wait here.
And I'll keep using my evolution analogy that I've been talking about for these games. Link's Awakening has pretty much the same stuff from before, but it also now has the seashell, which is kind of our first, collect a bunch, go trade it in for a reward type thing. And I think it's really subtle and really well done in this game. There's not many to get, and it works for, like I said, it's a nice little add-on to this Game Boy game. Very cute, very quaint. And yeah, I just really like the seashells in addition to, the little heart pieces and stuff like that. I guess in DX too, which, because we're talking about it, you had the pictures and stuff like that, which were really fun to find all those moments. I think they have it so like you can actually collect more seashells than you need, or like there's some like if you don't do it at a right spot, you miss some, but I don't think you never lock yourself out of anything. So I think some people might be like, well, you can't get them all if you don't do this right. But for this type of game, I think they're still thinking of it as how I think of like the Korok seeds, which is like, yeah, you don't really get them all. They hadn't really thought out this whole like let's get everything thing. But I think anyway, I think it's perfect for this game. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I really like them. I think the seashells are a lot of fun. Although I will say, now my memory doesn't serve me perfectly, but not quite the same as the Maiamais in the fact that every 10, you get like a nice fun reward. It's spaced
Hmm.
out a little differently, and not, if I can't remember what all the rewards
I
are,
think
but
it's
they're
fives. It's like
Is it?
multiples of fives, I think.
Hmm.
Well, at least in the remake, maybe. Maybe it's
Well,
not that
there's
way in
there's
the.
more going on in the remake, I believe.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was trying to look it up, but yeah, I think it's not as
Not as
instant.
meaningful, and like it doesn't feel as rewarding. But again, it is the first time we see this in the series where it is the sort of collectathon, see how many of these you can find, you know?
Well, I think it's what I will say is like that the things you do get, since there's not many extra things to collect, they feel pretty good. Like at the end, you get that sword that makes you powerful, and to
Yeah.
me in this game, it's it doesn't have that failing where I feel like that last collectible is like totally useless or whatever. It's
Okay,
like
yeah.
this is a pretty tough game. I
I
guess though
actually
the
like.
boomerang or whatever is the one optional item, and that's even more powerful. So I don't know.
Yeah. The sword is definitely a good final reward for me, I think. And um, something that you said, Nico, I actually kind of, even though the rewards that you get aren't quite as meaningful as in A Link Between Worlds, I always found myself, at least in the remake, once I had collected a good amount more of shells, I would be like, ooh, I gotta go to the seashell hut and go and get the meter to go up and get a nice little thing, see if I get a little gift. I
Mm-hmm.
always thought it was very, like, the presentation of it
Oh,
was really
100%.
fun and rewarding because it's like you get a little gift, you get to see the bar go up, you get little twinkly lights.
Yeah. The presentation, especially in the 2019 remake, is like chef's kiss. It's so fun and it's very cute. I love the seashell hut and the music is all pretty.
Yeah, so
So
I'm mixed about how I feel about those two, comparing them, because I feel like Link's Awakening to me is a nice tight little package, and it's
Mhm.
almost to me it's practically flawless. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm just saying like it has it fits this game so well. Whereas like some of the stuff they added in Link's Awakening, the remake, like I don't like as much. So it's where I'm like, is it better or worse? Like there's certain things it has more of that I do like.
so I want to put both of them towards the top, but
Uh-huh.
my one thing is that I kind of feel that the remake is one tier above the original. And there's a couple main big reasons for that. One is that, kind of akin to what we were just talking about with A Link Between Worlds, the remake has a way for you to track how many shells you've found. I believe once you get them, there's little icons that pop up in the map saying like you
Mhm.
found one here, you found one here, you found one here.
The
Mhm.
map is a
And be-
great feature.
and because of the
Yeah.
meter that's going up, you can tell generally, like, you don't know exactly how many you have left, but you can tell like I'm getting towards the end. There's not going to be that many left that I need to find.
Mhm.
And that indicator, I think, is just an awesome way to kind of show you maybe you should check out this general area where you haven't found a lot of seashells, because they are pretty spaced out, but they are kind of, some of them can be a little bit not cryptic, but a little bit more challenging to
Yeah,
find, a
they're
little more
definitely
out of the way.
they're definitely harder to find than my eyes.
The other thing, the other main reason I want to put the remake above the original, well, also because they space out the rewards a little bit better. It is kind of a little wonky in the original. Um, but the other main thing that I like more in the remake is the little statues, and they're
Mhm.
really not a super meaningful thing. It's just a fun little side collectible. They're completely optional. You don't have to do
Mhm.
anything about them, but they're fun little Mario enemies, and that kind of
Yeah.
adds into the whole dream aesthetic that we've talked about a lot on this show. And I like that they have little descriptions and stuff. I think that's just a fun little if you've maybe gotten a lot of the seashells or you've gotten a lot of the heart containers and you don't want to progress the main story, but you kind of just want to do something else, you could be like, yeah, I'm going to take some time and try and collect some of these little guys and then put them up in the houses and I can look at them.
And
Well, it's cool because I think they have this fun little mini game you can play, and it doesn't really change, but it's just like another excuse to go like, oh, I'm gonna go pump a few quarters into the crane game.
Yeah.
I love that.
Which is something that I feel like most people will do, get the Yoshi doll and then never again.
Oh, I played it. I played a lot. I really like it. Trendy game is my thing.
It makes you want to go back and check out the fishing, though. Like the way that one kind of progressed didn't quite work for me. And then I like the adding the seashells is cool, like more. I wish that you got that tracker or that like seashell alert earlier in the thing. That should, I think, be like
true, because that's a reward, isn't it?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And then there was one other gripe. Oh, and then I really dislike the chamber dungeons, I think. And that would be fine if it was its own separate thing, but it ties one of the the heart pieces are like in that section. And so I kind of hate that because I want to get all the heart pieces, but I don't want to do the chamber dungeons.
Yeah.
I get that.
I would also, but then if you take them out, it would take away some people's encouragement to play chamber dungeons, I guess. But
I mean, I personally like the chamber dungeons, so that doesn't. I understand why that's frustrating because that was the last heart piece that I got as well, and it's kind of like, all right, why'd you put it behind all this stuff? But I didn't mind the chamber dungeons, so that's not as big of a downfall for me.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Nico? Do you think same tier or different tiers?
So what's funny is that honestly they're different so much in their collectibles, but I feel like they're at the same tier. Like, I think it's worth separating them like we did, but I honestly think that for different reasons, they're about the same tier of collectible for me.
I mean, I'm not opposed.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it being one tier up or whatever. But yeah, for me, it's there's pros and cons.
I think my proposal would have been remake S, original A. But if you guys want to put both in A, I'm okay with that too. Or maybe even both in S if you guys want to do that.
I think
I personally would go.
I would put them both in A.
Okay.
I think
I'm cool with that.
It's weird for me because I feel like the original is an S for me. It's like it works for me perfectly, but and then like that whole chamber dungeon thing is like it's just too much for me.
Takes it down. Yeah.
But like in so many other ways is the remake objectively better, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It improves on things, but also kind of makes a couple things not as great.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just like being too pedantic about it. So
let's do both in A.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
I think that's good.
Honestly.
All right, let's do.
We have a lot of 3D games left.
We do. Those are the ones that typically have the most collectibles, I feel like.
It's true.
Did we separate Twilight Princess and Twilight Princess HD? We did, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
okay. Because we just did a pair, let's do another pair. Let's do Twilight Princess and Twilight Princess HD.
Let's drag those guys right here. So we got these two.
The stamps are the only difference, right?
I think so.
There might be some other minor thing or something.
There's probably something.
You said before that you did not like the addition of the stamps.
The stamps they just don't really. I mean, it's kind of if for someone who is super into the Miiverse and like doing stuff with that, and they were like, "Oh, cool! I can use this." Like I didn't care. I didn't use that. Every time I got a stamp, that's the biggest thing for me is that pretty much all of these are found in chests in dungeons. So it's like I do a thing, I get to a corridor, I'm like, "Ooh, a chest," and I open it up, and it's the Hylian letter N stamp, and I'm like, "Who cares? Put it back." Like there were actually times where I was like, "I don't want this. Like, put it back in. What a waste of a chest."
I think the
There's
funny
a lot
thing
of
though,
wastes of chess
the
in
funny
the
thing
game.
though is
Yeah.
also on top of that, go back to the original and you do these puzzles and they're rupees.
And you can't even put in your
And
wallet.
yeah,
So
and
the
in the
chest is
original, it's
there.
like, oops, put it back in. That
So
drove
then
me nuts.
I'm like looking at the map of the dungeon later, like, oh, did I get everything? And I'm like, oh, there's a chest still unopened.
You
It's
go hunt it
annoying.
down, and it's 10 rupees.
That's why they're on the same level to me, because it's like, or actually like the stamps are better because at least it's like something to look at. It's like, oh great, I got
But I mean, the most of them, I wouldn't consider rupees collectibles, and that's pretty much what it replaces most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I
so it
wouldn't
adds a
even.
collectible.
It adds yeah.
What other
It in
collectibles
place of
are
all
in
those
Twilight
meaningless.
Princess?
But they could have just kept them rupees because they fix that in the remake. They give
Yeah,
you
you
like
just
bigger wallet sizes.
Yeah.
well, and you also just it's like other games where they're like, it's fine if you miss out on rupees because of this,
Yeah.
because you're gonna have a million anyway.
Well, why don't we leave that for last then? Let's talk about the rest of the collectibles because I think
Okay.
Twilight Princess has some really good collectibles, some that I really really like that I
Mhm.
think are pretty rewarding, but it's kind of breaching almost the too many collectibles, but not as much in like there are 900 Korok seeds kind of way, more that there's golden bugs and there's souls and there's more heart pieces than any other game,
Okay,
and there's
question.
also
They make you get 5 to get a new heart container,
Mhm.
right?
5.
That's too many.
That's
Well,
That's
and
too
the
that's
many.
why
way
there's more.
I don't like that.
the reason there's more is then they can have more chests in the dungeons.
Yeah.
And I think this is more of a dungeon talk, but I kind of have praised stuff like the stone beak or whatever. It's like another collectible in the dungeon. That's fun, and maybe that is even a collectible. But now it gives another thing in the dungeon to look out for.
Mhm.
But now they're like, here's some heart pieces. You used to have to like look around for these,
Yeah.
but now you found this chest, which
Yeah,
is on your map.
it's
I
not
guess.
it's not as gratifying.
I
It's
and
weird.
then
don't like the heart pieces in Twilight Princess, but I do love the golden bugs.
Yeah, that's golden bugs are probably my favorite in this
Yeah.
game.
But even that, it's like it just gives you a bunch of rupees. It's like a fun setting and everything, but it just feels like I guess it's fine though. It's appropriately scaled. Like each one of
This is
them is almost its own fine enough collectible on top of the game, you know?
yeah. Yeah, I don't golden bugs I really like because I like that well, first of all, I love Agatha. She's a great character. She's
She's
fantastic. I love bringing
quirky.
the bugs to her. I like that. That's one where I think it's really cool to just find them like out in the world. And I especially thought it was fun. Like I would like wait until nighttime, and then like wait
Yeah.
until you see the little gold glimmer, and you're like, "Ooh, I gotta go get that." And I like that you get extra rupees if you get a pair, if you get the male and female bugs
Mhm.
to Agatha. Rupees isn't the best reward. You get
They're focused on the
you get
magic
the
armor is really what they're doing, obviously, but like still
you get the you get the Giant's wallet through
yeah,
that, right?
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
I think normally rupees, maybe even a little bit so in with the golden bugs, it's not the best reward, but I think Twilight Princess has a decent enough economy compared to some other Zelda games. Like there are things that I would want to spend my rupees on
I mean, look at that
in that
bustling
game, I feel
castle
like.
town. I mean, obviously their economy is booming, so
Yeah.
There's like I guess yeah, there's the magic armor you could use
yeah.
all the rupees for.
Probably
I
the
never
magic
really
armor
do that,
mostly.
but
That's mostly
it
just the
seems
magic armor.
appropriate. And then there's like the one heart piece where you have to give the guy like $1 billion.
Gotta give him a bunch of rupees, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that to me just feels like they designed that to be like a money pit.
That's
you know.
fair.
I don't know though. I don't know. I'm kind of
I'm going to
mixed.
propose that they are
We didn't even talk about postals.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about souls.
Oh god. They're annoying.
I like
that you can't
I like
change the
souls.
day of time of day. So
You guys
like
don't like postals?
No,
you can
I
only
think
Well,
get
yeah,
them at
that's
night,
pretty annoying.
they're fun,
and
but they're
Well,
annoying.
so yeah, I like that. This is another one where like this happened. This is a prime example of a collectible where it's like this has happened so many times when I'm playing through a Zelda game where I get a few naturally because you do naturally encounter some, and those are awesome. You turn into Wolf Link and you rip the things. You know,
That's
it's
fun.
fun getting them. And
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, I want to get a lot of these, and I like Giovanni is his name, right? And
Yeah.
I like the whole aspect of turning him back to normal, but
Cats.
like I'm always like, ooh, I want to get a lot, and then I never do because I'm always
Mhm.
like, this is too much. I can't go
is.
out of my way to do all this.
I really do think the postals are a ton of fun, but like you said, I don't know if I've ever got them all. Even when I've like tried to,
Definitely
I
not
think I
me.
just gave up because I just stopped caring.
Twilight Princess is one of my favorite games, and I've said that I want to 100% it several times, and I never have. Not once.
I
don't think I've
blame
even come close.
Giovanni. It's fine.
I
I'm
don't
gonna.
think
Never
it's
seen him become
completely
human.
awful though.
That's so
I just
mean.
think because it's one of those ones where it's like I don't need to do this, and the game is still easy enough, but it does feel a little bit like padded out, I guess.
I would
That's one
propose
where
that they're on the
maybe
same level though, because the between the OG and the HD, because honestly, adding the stamps didn't do anything for me. I mean, they're I think more rewarding than having rupees, but I don't think that's enough to change the tier.
that's fair.
I'll say that much.
I think that's fine. Do we want to? I would propose because there's a nice big gap right in the middle there. I would propose we put them in B because I think they're all really good collectibles, but they're not like they're all awesome in concept.
Yeah.
I think they're all cool for a little bit at least, but most of them go on way too long or there are too many of them.
Yes. The only shining star for me is the golden bugs. Honestly.
Hmm.
What do you think, Gooey?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's another one where it's like it's not as bad as the rings, but it's like where like collecting it is like some of them it's just so annoying. Like because it's like you got to make it nighttime, but you can't do it here, and then you have to like float over here, and I don't know. I guess B's fine.
You guess?
Yeah,
I'm
if
fine with
that's
that.
what you're feeling.
Let's do
Or
it.
I
Lucky
would have
B.
gone C, I guess, but
Yeah,
I think golden bugs bump it up for me just because I think it's fun and it's quirky and
golden bugs are dope.
they're just so fun.
okay, fair enough.
There's a lot of bugs.
I think there are enough collectibles where if there's at least one where you're like, this one sucks, you can try your hand at a couple more.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Is it?
Who did that?
I don't.
Nico, I picked
that?
that one.
No.
Oh, I was
No,
like,
it's
did I
Nico's
pick Twilight Princess?
pick.
Okay, let's do Minish Cap. Let's do Minish Cap. I really enjoy the Kinstones. I think Kinstones are fun. They're frustrating because there's a ton of them, and I feel like I just never had the right ones to actually match with people.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is the figurines, right? That's what they're called.
Oh,
Because let me
yeah.
tell you, if you are
Yeah.
not getting the figurines throughout the game as you go, and then you just have
Oh my gosh.
the
There's
magical
RNG.
shells at the end, you're
it's a nightmare.
screwed because you've collected 999 shells and you can never have more than that at once. And then you open a chest that has 300 and you're like, wow, they go to waste and they're gone forever and you can never get those. And so then you pull the little trigger for one shell at a time and just pray to Hylia that you actually get the right figurine. But honestly, that is like the worst collectible in a Zelda game, in my opinion. I hate those figurines.
Whoa.
They have made me not 100% Minish Cap ever because of those figurines.
I definitely never would, yeah.
No.
This is one I actually have 100% it, and it's one that
Wow.
required a lot of work, and I actually really like the collectibles, and I completely agree with everything you're saying. I hate the way
Yeah.
that like little pull system works, but just the idea of the
Takes so much time.
figurines in themselves, like having a little collectible and a cool little artwork and a nice little description, like
But you know
that
what?
really like
I
clicks
think
with me.
a different Zelda game pulls off the gallery idea a little bit better. I'll say that
And
much.
I want to touch on some of the other ones too, because there are definitely huge downsides to the figurines, regardless of how you feel about figurines in general. But I think the kinstones are such a novel mechanic. I love fusing kinstones. I think that's such a
Same.
cool idea. I love collecting them. I love finding people to fuse with. Those are awesome in my book. And also, this game has, I would count it as a collectible, are the scrolls, the tiger scrolls,
Oh yeah, I would count
which give
those.
Those are
you
cool.
basically like the hidden skills,
Yeah.
pretty much. And those are all really fun and useful.
That's what's so funny about this game to me is that I love the kinstones. I really do. I love them a lot, even though they're a little frustrating sometimes, but they are really fun. And I also love the Tiger Scrolls, but I despise the figurine system, even though I love the figurines themselves. So I'm really torn on this one, honestly. I don't know where to put it.
I
I
think
don't.
the heart pieces are pretty good in this game too, because they
Heart
utilize the
pieces are
shrinking
good.
mechanic a lot.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
which is fun. It's a good gimmick.
For me, the kinstone thing, I don't know if this might be chicken or the egg, where it's like I don't love the game that much, so maybe like I'm not engaged with the world, but like I found myself a lot fusing a kinstone, then I see something happen on the map somewhere, and I'm like,
Cool.
what was that? Oh, okay, whatever,
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love
Whereas
that. It's like something's happening somewhere else, and you're like, where is that? I need to go there.
I don't know, I like that. That's why I think maybe it's just the game because I'm never that into the game. Where it's like if
That's
I
fair.
there's certain games I play and it's like that happens, I'm like I have to find that, but
Yeah.
I don't know, for it just didn't click with me. And then yeah, I think
So when
um
Gooey, when you play Elden Ring and you get a message that says a heavy door has opened somewhere, do you just ignore it and walk away?
no, actually what happens a lot is I get a note that's like we lay beneath Elendville, our body, come find us, and it's like somewhere totally else on the map, and I'm like that is so sick.
And then you get
I have
killed
no
by a
idea where
bat or a lobster.
that's what I mean though, is I get a note in a game like that where I'm totally engaged with the world.
You're
Um
immersed, so you're
and I'm
like, oh,
like,
I need to find that.
where is this? And I'm
Is it the
like, I know I'll
GBA audio that makes it not immersed for you?
I don't know.
Because
I don't want
that's
to come
what it
up.
does. That's what it is for me.
And then I was
Oof.
sort of saying with a lot of games, uh like with those type of systems, I can usually just ignore it.
Mhm.
And so it's like not that negative, but I could just tell how awful that figurine system was, that it went
Yeah.
from like actively ignore to like mad that that's what it is. And then like yeah, whenever you go up to people, there's the little prompt for kinstones, and I was just like,
Yeah.
leave me alone. I don't want to do this. So I feel like the game has a collectible that I don't love, and it's also like
Okay.
you can do the thing here, and I'm like I don't know. Do I have the piece? I don't
So
care.
this game spans so much because it's some of our favorites and some of our least favorites. Even for me, hate
That's
the
for you guys.
figurines, love the kinstones.
Corey likes them all.
Corey likes them
I
all.
do.
Gooey hates them all. So
Where do we want to put it?
My vote would have been A, but it's not going to be that high.
I'm
I
gonna say
don't
just
think.
we toss it in B and we call it good.
Okay.
I'm
me,
okay. That's
in
a
the middle.
fine compromise for me.
It's literally it's the only way we could do it.
Before we move on, but I just something, because kinstones are on my mind. I just want to talk about kinstones. That it's like, what's really cool too is like the different colors mean different things.
Yeah.
Like the green makes like, or one of them makes like an enemy appear, one of them makes a chest appear, and one of them makes like an event happen.
Mm-hmm.
And those little events are really what did it for me. Like the one where you fuse a blue kinstone with like a wall somewhere. And then another Goron shows up at the place where they're trying to break through the
Yeah.
wall, and you're like, yes, I'm getting closer and closer.
I do like
No.
the bottle system in Minish Cap. I will say that.
But yeah, bottles are great.
Bottles are good.
There's a couple extra items, like you can get the bow of light, totally optional. You can get the mirror shield, totally
Mirror
optional.
shield.
The
Mirror shield.
like the way you just described that on the different colors, like that's not something I knew, and I think it's again a like where I already kind of just wasn't really that into it,
Makes
so like
sense.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm
I
not
didn't
gonna
know
take
that the
the time. But it
first
makes
few times I
sense. It
played it.
makes total sense, and I think when I play it again, I might even like appreciate that
Yeah.
more. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna look out for that.
All right,
Okay,
Or
who
like it
you?
makes the oracles appear. It makes the oracles appear, and you can get the little picolite from them, or the charms. That's
I don't know
dope.
yeah.
what that is, but that sounds cool.
Jeez.
Um, do we
Good.
want to do Ocarina of Time?
Sure, let's do it. This
Okay.
beautiful artwork that got cut off.
Yeah, that's the game for sure. Now this is where this is the expansion of the whole collectible thing into now you have the Skulltulas, the big one, and it's
Yes.
this huge massive thing, and they're trying to spread it out over the game. And this is one where it's sort of, for me, hits the point of I like them a lot actually, and I think there's like a decent amount, and it's one of the games I have 100%ed, and it was fun to do. Um, it's okay for me, but it's not one where like I'm probably not gonna do it again
You know
or
what
anything like that.
I don't want to derail, but I'm like just noticing how many collectibles are golden.
It's a
Well,
'Cause
yeah,
gold shiny thing you
I
want.
mean, I guess it makes sense, but yeah, there's like the gold Skulltulas in a few games. You've got the Korok seeds are well, they're
they're not gonna be
golden.
rusty.
And I mean, the
They should
golden
be.
bugs.
Oh yeah,
I guess I
the gold.
never put it together.
We love gold. Yeah,
People like gold stuff.
Jeez Louise. Am I even a
think-
Zelda fan? Okay, let's keep talking about Ocarina of
yeah.
Time.
Welcome to the Zelda fandom.
Thanks.
I think Corey, you feel more negatively about
All right.
this.
I gotta get this out of the way. This is probably my hottest
You
take
can't
of the
tell me
episode.
that Big Pose or whatever are better than this.
I would say they're the same level.
Oh, I forgot about Big
Because-
Pose. I hate the Big
No,
Pose.
not sorry, not Big Pose. I mean like Pose Souls.
Actually,
The-
Pose Souls. Yeah, Big Pose
these-
I don't like either, but
These to me are the same level as one of those Twilight Princess ones where like you're like, this is cool, I like this, and you get a few naturally, and you're like, I want to get all of them, and then you never do. And I'll tell you why you never do, unless you're Goo and you did 100% it. I went out of my way recently to finally get all of them for the first time. I have 100%ed Ocarina of Time in its entirety, except doing the gold Skulltulas several times, and I was finally like, all right, I gotta do this. Gold Skulltulas, I know everyone loves them, and before I start tirading, I want to say the whole thing about hearing the scritchy scritch, and you look around, you're like, ooh, there's one, and then you get it, and the little skulls themselves, awesome, fantastic. Everything else sucks. The rewards are terrible.
Yeah.
They're all money-based in a game that has tiny wallet sizes, and even if you have all the money, there's nothing to spend it on. And the worst thing about these is that the majority of them, like dozens of them, are in holes in the ground that you need bugs to get. So if you're hunting them in these very specific spots, you need to just have bugs in your bottles, which if you're a normal person, you're not just going to be carrying 5 bottles of bugs, even if you have 5 bottles. Nico, we talked about this when we talked about Blue Fire. It's a similar thing.
Yeah.
You only have a certain amount of bottles, and you only want to use them for a certain amount of things. So if you're walking around, if you only have 3 bottles, right, and you want to hunt some gold Skulltulas, you need to dump whatever's in your bottles, go to a grotto where you can find bugs, go to a spot where you think maybe there's a gold Skulltula, drop the bugs, and then see whether or not there's a gold Skulltula in there. You might have just wasted 5 minutes for no reason. And then another thing, there's no way to see if this game needs like one of those Link Between Worlds map things like you've already checked here. Because the things in the ground, that is a perfect example of if you just don't remember, you are never going to know if you checked that ground spot. So you could potentially waste 5 minutes checking it, and in a subsequent, in another play session, maybe a few days later, you're like, crap, did I check this spot? Then you go to a grotto, you get some bugs, you check the spot, and there's nothing in there. And you're like, dang it, I already did check this spot. And it's like, I don't know, it's a nightmare. I'm sorry, it's a nightmare.
I mean, listen, I'm going to be first in line to say that Ocarina of Time is an overrated Zelda game. I would agree with this on a lot of spots. Gold Skulltulas are probably the top 2 reasons why I think it's overrated. I'm all
My
with you.
response is I looked up where they all are.
Well,
that's the thing too.
What
So,
website did
I
you go
used-
to?
When I was doing this recently, I used our trusty Zelda Dungeon guide to get all of the gold Skulltulas. But even then, if you're not doing them sequentially one by one by one as you're able to get them, you will forget which ones you have gotten or not, unless you're
Yeah.
like writing them down or checking them off or something, because there are several, like there's a bunch in Child Link time that you can't get until later. Like there are a couple in like the dungeons that you can't get until you get the item from the next dungeon. So if you don't actively think, okay, I got this item, now let me just halt my story progression and go back to Dodongo's cavern and use the boomerang to get that one gold Skulltula up there, you're gonna forget, and then you're gonna go and get it at another point when you see it on the little guide, and then you're gonna forget later, and you're gonna be like, crap, do I have to go back to Child Link to go to Dodongo's cavern to see if I got that one or not? Like, I don't know. It's a vicious cycle.
You know,
you can
there's
tell that that's happened to me.
there's another game that uses gold Skulltulas that I think does it better in a more interesting and fun way that's less annoying.
My only response is, to me, the aspect of it is no different than the Korok seeds or the Postals, where it's like, oh, here I am, and here's one of those. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna collect it. You know, I don't care how many I get. For me, 100%ing is not really a factor, though I have 100%ed this and will never those other games, because I think it's still a little bit easier to do so
Okay.
than like those 2 games. But either way, the 100%ing doesn't really factor into how I usually feel about it. So to me, this one is just better because I like that you hear a cool noise, you find a spider, you know, you kill it. I guess with the Korok seeds there are some pretty unique puzzles that would put this over. But then with the Post Souls, it's like, I don't know, it's not it's just the aspect of maybe this is another case of like liking the world more too, but like finding them in the overworld isn't that cool to me. And I like hearing the little and I'm like, ooh,
That was pretty good.
And that might
That
just
was
speak
good,
to that part of my brain, you know, even maybe the nostalgia part of my brain is like, I just find the simple act of collecting that
Okay.
more fun. And to me, like, the fact that the rewards are useless is like, okay, I don't need anything else in Ocarina of Time. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
a good point.
I don't
Now
need
that I've
another
calmed
reward.
down, I just want to say that I was pretty harsh on that, but I would never say that these are the worst collectible or even near the worst collectible.
No.
I think all of those negatives balance out all of the top tier positives you're talking about, because that is such like a primal, ooh, I gotta look for something feeling when you hear a little scritchy and you're like, ooh, where is it? I need to go find it.
Mhm.
And then you see it and you're like, ooh, all right, how do I get to it? Like that's perfect. And also, we're just talking about the Skulltulas. That doesn't even
Yeah.
count
Well, I don't like the big
the heart
posts.
pieces.
I don't
This
like the
game
big
has awesome
posts.
heart pieces.
Great
Big
heart
poses
pieces,
are
whatever.
bad, I think.
But yeah, in terms of ones like that, Goo, where you're saying like, if you come upon them, you get them. I think this is a
Yeah.
top tier one of
Yeah.
those, but it's the rest of it that brings it down
Yeah.
to me.
We also have the masks, and you have you get extra songs
Masks are cool.
and the spells. I don't know. It's got a lot of fun stuff to collect.
Even
B-tier?
with that, did you say B tier?
Yeah, I don't think it's C, because
Yeah,
I think
that's-
in the C.
Oh, no, I don't think
Yeah.
it's C tier at all. I was going to say A tier. But
Oh,
then
okay.
Corey's tirade on the Golden Skulltulas talked me down to a B.
I'm fine with B.
It's funny you like tirated, but we kind of feel similarly about him. I think it's just that Ocarina of Time it usually gets a lot of praise for everything, and so you just kind of expect this to be perfect, you know?
It's not.
Everyone loves, like, that's something that I say everyone, a lot of people are very fond of Gold Skulltulas because they're very fond of Ocarina of Time. And I think it's something where if you examine it a little more closely, it's like this, if you're really trying to get all of them, it just is not, doesn't work great for
Yeah.
me.
All right.
Whose pick was that?
Well,
Mine.
that was no, that was mine. So
Jeez.
Corey, you can, with all that passion.
What do you want to lead into?
I'm not passionate about anything else. Whatever. Let's do, because you just dragged it. Let's do Four Swords Adventures.
Oh, okay. Are there collectibles in this game? I don't know.
I don't think so.
You can you can unlock the different Tingle Tower mini games, which are really fun.
Okay.
The heck is the Tingle Tower?
Well, so we never do it at the marathon. Go watch our video, but basically every world they'll be like Tingle wants to play, and you can go to his tower, and there's different mini games you unlock, like a whole like Mario Party style mini game, but like in like a digging game or something like that. And you all
Tingle
compete.
is a 35-year-old man that thinks he's a fairy. So, I mean, do we really want to count that as like a collectible, or
Is that also only? That's got to be only multiplayer, right? Because I don't think that ever popped up for me when I play it.
It's not really a thing you collect. It's more of levels. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It doesn't need it though. You know, I don't know. It has enough. The game's got enough.
We're rating collectibles,
I agree.
not the games.
Yeah.
It could be a great game, but have not great collectibles.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, let's just get rid of Spirit Tracks too. What do you guys think of Spirit Tracks?
I'm trying to remember.
I cannot remember any
collect.
Collectibles.
All right,
you find more like rail maps.
Well, okay, the
little bunnies.
it's like the same thing with the boat in Phantom Hourglass. You can do that with the train. Yeah, that's like all I remember.
There's train parts. There's heart pieces. I want to put this. Well, we have a lot in B. I would want to put it one tier above Phantom Hourglass, but I could also see it going in C if that's what you guys feel. The other main thing is that this has the bunnies for Rabbit Land Rescue that pop up along the overworld.
Which
that
is
like
cute.
if you encounter it, you go into the little mini game where you got to try and catch them. And then also, like you said, you get the Force Gems, which unlock different parts of the overworld, different little towns, different little sections of the rail map.
I would say it's above Phantom Hourglass.
Collecting the different parts of the rail map is really satisfying to me because you unlock a completely new area, regardless of what's really there, because I don't think it's super rewarding. And I also like the rabbits. I think that's a fun little way to flesh out what could be seen as a pretty dang boring overworld to traverse.
Yeah, this is one I like almost can't even rate because like the last time I played the game, I just like really didn't like the game that much, so I just like didn't want to keep playing it. So like the thought of putting more time in to collect more things, I was like, I can't do it.
Do you want to keep it at C with Phantom Hourglass?
It's one where like I just liked playing Phantom Hourglass more, so I got more stuff. I feel it, but I can see your reasoning, but I don't know if it's a whole tier above.
I say B, Goose says C. Nico, final decision.
Yeah.
And C, above Phantom Hourglass.
Okay.
There you go.
Is there like a big one we're saving for last? I
don't really think so. I mean, I have one personally that I think could be S tier, but
I think these all have pretty good
perks. I think all three of these are great collectibles personally.
All right, let's do Wind Waker, I guess. Okay. I don't know. I know you had a lot to say about the figurines in this, but it's another thing that I don't know. It's one that I'm not mad about. It's like I'm not gonna do this, but it's not a pro or con to me necessarily. I
So
can see why people would get into it though.
the collectibles are mostly the figurines, and then you might
The like
consider other
flower
things.
things.
Like there's the town flowers and stuff, but that's really just
It's more like a trade. Well, they are collectibles. It's like a
They're-
trading sequence collectible thing.
yeah, it's kind of on the fence there. But I love seeing Windfall Island like spring to life.
When you decorate it.
Yeah, it's fun. I think that's rewarding in its own way. But also the figurines as a kid, I thought were so freaking cool. I loved the gallery, and there's like fun Easter eggs in there. Um,
That's one where like if it had a better way of tracking that could probably get into a little bit more.
I
Like the
think
Hyrule
you can just
Compendium.
look- You can just go and look at what figurines you have, and you say,
Yeah.
"All right, I got that guy."
No, I mean like on your start menu or something. You know,
that's fair because you actually have
like
to
you
go
have to
the
travel
location.
there, and
You
yeah,
gotta, yeah. You
I
gotta
will say
look this way.
HD did it better because they gave you the much better pick to box. So I think that's
You can do 12.
yeah, that's just better. So that
That's a
definitely
huge thing because like going to
helped.
Karlov and like giving him 3, and then you gotta wait till the next day,
yeah.
and then, but that's not all because like it's not just that you have to wait to get them. It's like once you give them to him, you can't give him anything else unless you take more pictures of other people.
Yeah.
You know?
and
I
yeah,
There's also the
The,
treasure charts.
I like
which
getting those. That's
I
fun.
love the treasure charts personally.
I don't usually like always get them all. It's one of those things where I'm probably not going to get them all, but I do. They're like fun to get.
They're
and
super fun, yeah.
especially if you're like, oh, I do need some rupees. You know,
Mhm.
especially later when
You've
you gotta
always got an
pay for
extra
the
treasure
charts.
chart laying around.
Yeah,
yeah.
they're fun to cross off. I think that's a pretty fun cross it off the little map there.
I would almost even say that opening up the entire map and actually
Oh, yeah.
giving the fish bait every single time is in its own way a
That's
collectible.
true.
It's not
Getting the
required.
manuscripts.
But I every time
That's
I play this
cool.
game, I just go up and down the map at one point and I just get all of them because it's so satisfying to me.
It is very satisfying.
I don't know.
You
I
get
like that a
little-
lot.
You get little tidbits from the fishmen too.
Yeah.
They give you little fun hints.
Tells you all about the Triumph Forks. It's great.
Triumph Forks. Yeah. I think this.
It's okay
I'd
for
say
me,
A
yeah.
or B for Wind Waker for me. It's not like my favorites are the figurines, but like with the caveat that it has to be HD because I think it's a little too much in the regular version.
Mhm.
The town flowers are all right. Treasure charts are okay. I like filling out the map. I'd say A or B.
What about you, Goo?
Yeah, I'm not really that down on it, but yeah, it's I guess
I think B is
Those-
probably fair then.
yeah, that seems good.
Let's do B.
Let's do it. Nice. All right.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Did you pick that one, Go?
Yes, I did.
Cool.
Okay. Let's do Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword. Graptitude crystals.
Skyward Sword has a lot of, I think, really good collectibles.
Mhm.
But this is another one where, and it's not for the same reason, but this is another one where I always say, I want to get all these, and then I never do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it just, the game, we talked about Skyward Sword a good amount. It, like, a lot of stuff takes a long time, so that by the time I get towards the end of the game, when I can really unlock and start doing all of that stuff, I'm like, I just want to finish the game.
Yeah.
So I've actually never seen Batro become a human. I've never given him enough. But
So-
I'm doing it in this playthrough, and I'm
Good.
gonna do it.
It's
close.
worth it. It's a nice moment. It really
And
is.
and that's the thing too, is that like in practice, the things that you have to do to get gratitude crystals and the gratitude crystals themselves, I think are awesome.
Pretty memorable. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all memorable and you're helping people out and it feels great to get them and it fleshes out the world and
And some of them are just like
they're-
hidden around in Skyloft.
That's cool.
Which is fun.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I think in that they're great, and I even like, upgrading all. If you count upgrading all of your like your shields and armor and like all the
I
medals
actually
you
love
can get
I
and the
love that
goddess
system.
cubes.
It's their like being able to upgrade your items, like that RPG element. I love upgrading all of my stuff. And like collecting the items is really not that hard. Like
Yeah.
most of it's easy to farm if you want to farm it, or you'll just
There's a
find most
couple
of it
random
naturally.
ones where it's like, wait, I need how many tumbleweeds? You know?
Yeah.
There's a
Tumbleweeds are the one
like
everyone forgets about for the
Yeah,
net.
yeah, I think it
you
could
need a
be
big.
implemented
Yeah,
a little better, but I did love like like upgrading my shield and stuff like that.
I
Gratitude
mean,
crystals are nice
like
side
Corey
quests.
said, this game, everything, it just takes forever. Like
Hmm.
that's the whole game. And I mean, they did that on purpose because they knew that we were going to be waiting for Breath of the Wild for a long time. So they just made it so everything in this game takes forever, so no one would complete it 100% until Breath of the Wild came out, obviously.
Right.
That was their plan.
and that's why they just released Skyward Sword HD to hold us over for Breath
Which
of the
is
Wild 2.
also the
That makes
reason there's
sense.
900 Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild to hold us over for
There
Breath of the
you
Wild 2
go.
as well.
Where would you want to put
I
this?
think Skyward Sword, we didn't even talk about like goddess cubes, which I know might not be
Awesome.
considered a collectible, but like
It
I'm
definitely is.
I
That's
like going for
definitely
the
that's
goddess
for sure a
cubes.
collectible.
I think Skyward Sword has A tier collectibles because I actually like want to get all of them, and I feel like the game encourages me to. And also like helping Batro in the end is like really sweet, and I love it a lot.
Hmm. The goddess cubes is another example of something that's like, oh, it's cool if I get it, but I'm not
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't
putting
know
on
if I
really.
search out 100%. I don't know if I have 100% of this game technically. I don't think I have.
That's one that I'm okay with because like there's not a ton of goddess cubes, you know.
Yeah.
There's a good amount scattered throughout. You're gonna encounter most of them, and there's like if you can't get them in that moment,
Mhm.
there's probably only like a handful that you have to remember to come back to. So it's not
Yeah.
that big of a deal for me. I think
Eight
I
eight
would
tier?
agree. I think A tier's perfect because like
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
think I think all of these collectibles are like amongst top tier for me. It's just the game, the way like it just takes too long to actually do the
Yeah.
stuff to get them.
I would agree. Boom. Look at
All right. We got a big one for last, huh?
that. I'm gonna pick
That one.
Do you...
Hyrule
Now you don't like
Warriors.
this one at all, right, Nico?
Okay, here's the thing, y'all.
This is your least favorite game,
I
right?
know I said that Mai's are the best collectible in
They
the
definitely
series,
are.
and I will agree with that 100%. But I originally said they're in my top 2 favorite, and that's because Masks and Majora's Masks are actually my favorite collectible because of what they are. I mean, it's story driven, it's side quests, they have different abilities, they're fun. Um there's so many of them and each one is so unique. Some of them are callbacks to Ocarina of Time. Some of them are Easter eggs to Star Fox. I don't know, which is just like kind of fun. I think every time I play Majora's Mask, unless I'm doing like a randomizer or something, I get every mask. I want the Fierce Deity mask. That is 100% worth it as a
It's cool.
reward for collecting all the masks. I also think that the gold Skulltulas in this game are more fun because they're condensed. You have the Skulltula
into
houses.
Yeah.
confined locations. Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
get
almost
the
think of it as not even a collectible, but like a mini game. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I mean,
Mini
I just
dungeon.
think it's like I don't want to have to search every tiny little hole in Hyrule Field in Ocarina of Time for a Skulltula, but I'm excited to go to the spider house in the swamp and find all of them. I don't know.
I also I also think the Bomber's Notebook was
The
like the
Bomber's Notebook
first
is
attempt
great.
in the series to be like, oh, like it would be cool if you could document this somehow.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not perfect in the original, but it's a cool idea. And then I think
Yeah.
though it was satisfying for me to like complete it in the 3DS version. That became, I think, like the first Zelda game that has like a bunch of collectibles like that I 100%ed on my own
Mhm.
because it was like that was really fun to like check off all the little things you do.
Yeah. I would.
On top of,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, on top of the masks, which we've talked about the masks and why they're amazing on this before. On top of that, the other key collectible in this game for me is the stray fairies
Yes.
in the dungeons, and those are rad.
They're
That
so
adds, like,
good.
there are some where it's like, okay, maybe that one's a little too obscure, but I think overall that just adds another super fun layer on top of all of those dungeons, you know?
And even though
Yeah,
we don't have the map that's like, here's where all the fairies are, at least the Great Fairy Mask is a great way of knowing
Yeah.
if
and
if there's one in the
sure.
room
oh,
or
if
not.
it's in a room.
Yeah.
And it does tell you how many you've gotten, I
Mhm.
think, at least. So
Yeah.
you at least know, like, okay, I got them all. I can leave.
Yep.
Yeah,
mean,
I agree. Some
it's
are
really
like
rewarding.
some are stupid to find, but
Oh, sure.
to me it's like this extra like added bonus challenge. Like some
Yeah.
the first few like rewards you get are like pretty neat, pretty nice.
You get
But I think of like by the time you get to the Great Fairy Sword, it's sort of just a like, here you go, nice job. Here's like a wild sword.
that
you know?
Great
Just
Fairy Sword. What a cool design with like the black roses or whatever. It's a beautiful sword. Double
I
magic.
never use it.
The
But...
double magic is the most helpful.
Yeah, that's critical.
Item, and it's the. I've played Project Restorations. I can't remember. Is it Snowhead that you get double magic normally, or is that?
Oh,
Yeah,
they
I think
switched
so.
them in the yeah.
Oh, yeah, in the
Project
3D.
Restoration switches it
right?
with Woodfall. So I can't remember, but
I
yeah.
think the 3D version does too.
Oh, does it really? I don't know.
Maybe.
But double
But is
magic
it-
is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
Is it S tier though?
For the masks?
I would say it's S tier.
Yes.
Okay. Actually,
Okay.
yeah, just the one. I was the first one. I 100%ed.
Imagine this. You're walking, you're playing Ocarina of Time. You know, you're a kid, you're having a good
All
time.
right.
You want to walk across Hyrule Field. You don't want to call
would like
Epona. But you want to go faster. What do?
You want to go fast.
You put the
go
bunny hood on
fast.
and you go the exact same speed. How boring is that? No, you play Majora's Mask, you put the bunny hood on, you go twice as fast and you look adorable while doing it.
But now I'm like, oh, Epona is not very useful.
Epona
True.
is useful.
Whatever.
She hops over things in like 3 spots in the game, and then you have to also race the Gorman brothers.
She's a little useful.
I think this is just S tier all around. But
S tier.
collectibles.
fine.
No.
I think, like,
And we made a P.
Nice P.
yeah,
It's almost a pyramid.
we did it.
Actually, it kind of looks like somebody flipping you off if you look at it sideways. Just very
I don't
poorly.
think- I think we said there were some caveat ones we can move around, but
Yes.
I feel like
I'm okay with this.
I think we've honored our deals.
But you know what the best collectible is? The friends that we made
Friendship?
along the way.
Well, that's the end of the episode, folks. This was a long one, but I had a lot of fun. You guys, I
Yeah,
think this is
it
a
was
solid
long.
list.
It's nighttime now.
It's dork outside.
Door.
Well,
Scary.
yeah, leave a comment with what we should be ranking next. And you know what? We should say next month we're going to have another episode, but we're also going to be doing a live episode at the Zelda Dungeon Marathon. So I don't know when, don't know where, but just follow us and you'll see. Go to twitch.tv/Zelda Dungeon.
Be there.
And that's where we'll be, July 16th for a week. Come watch us.
That week, sometime.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, and with that, we'll see you next month.
Bye.